flag to flag. Instead, edited segments were interspersed with wide world coverage of other sports. And so, in 1968, Buddy Baker and Leroy Yarborough shared Saturday afternoon airtime, with Irving the Deacon Crane and Luther Lassiter battling for the World Pocket Billiard Championship. No disrespect, but for my money, this is better. Here's Baker diving past Leroy as they wheel into turn one, perhaps benefiting from that twin-carb power as he takes the lead. At the back of this pack, Cale Yarborough gets high, hits the wall coming out of turn four, and gets more than the proverbial Darlington stripe. Cale has heavy damage, including sheet metal rubbing the right front tire. He'll need a lot of attention from the famed Wood Brothers crew as he heads straight for the pit. And a little later, Cale's in trouble again. He spins going into turn one, trying to make up for last time. We rejoin Bill Fleming and Freddie Lorenzen with Sergeant Charlie Glotzback in the lead.
Look at them duel coming down this straightaway. Baker right up alongside of it. Boy, how close can you get, Fred?
They are running close. This Charlie Glotzback has really turned into a Charger, and he is running for the lead.
Well, he's driving a Charger today. There are two of them side by side. And Glotzback squeezing off Baker as they go into the turn. This has been the best racing of the day between any two particular cars. But we've had some great duels all afternoon. Look at how close they are. Baker tries to go to the inside down the home straightaway. Now, can he get through? That's the question. And Glotzback is jammed right into the wall, and Baker has taken the lead. Oh, and I bet you Charlie Glotzback is hot about that.
I think he is a little perturbed about that, Phil.
Look at that. He comes right up on the tail of Buddy Baker. Moving right up and actually bumping him. And that's the kind of racing that makes this the great sport it is. Fans here at the Darlington Raceway really eating up this duel between Buddy Baker and Charlie Glotzback. Buddy slammed Charlie into the retaining wall, and then Charlie was so angered by it, he came right up and actually bumped the rear bumper of Buddy Baker, and that's the way they've been going at it ever since. These two cars running 1 and 2 right now, and here's the third place car, David Pearson just hanging back, watching the two Chargers that evidently trying to destroy each other. Richard Petty running in the number 4 spot. Pole sitter Leroy Yarborough is back 3 laps, and Bobby Allison way back about 8 laps from the lead. And now David Pearson starts to put on the heat to go by Glotzback. And immediately there's a sign down in the pit for Pearson, think. Freddie, I think you've seen that as a driver before.
Yes, that's a sign Ralph Moody first gave me in 1961 when I was running the 2 laps to go against Curtis Turner. He gave me that same board, and it's been with the Holman Moody team ever since.
Certainly, they don't want him to put too much heat on Baker, but there he goes by Baker. David Pearson goes by Baker, and his pit crew says, wow, what are you doing? And so the leader right now is David Pearson, and here comes Charlie Glotzback limping into the pit. It looks like he's all through for the afternoon, but he did some good jousting in there with Buddy Baker. So the leader right now is David Pearson. And we'll try to get a word with Charlie Glotzback, who put on such a great show with Buddy Baker.
Charlie, it was a great race. What lasted? What happened? Well, the engine started overheating, so rather than blow it up, I just parked it. What happened here along the time? Well, me and Baker kind of got tangled up going in number 1 corner and raked the wall a little bit.
So the way they stand right now is Pearson, Baker, and Petty in that order. And the new record at the halfway mark of the race, 137.647. We'll be back with what promises to be an exciting finish in just a moment.
Richard Petty and David Pearson are battling for the lead, but Buddy Baker is playing catch-up after a stop-and-go penalty on pit road. Bill Fleming and Freddie Lorenzen have the explanation of the penalty and more of the 1968 Rebel 400.
The green flag is out again, and they're back racing. And the words of Johnny Bruner, the chief steward, is that David Pearson was held at the edge of the pit exit until Richard Petty had gone by. That was because Pearson did not complete a full stop when he came in on that first pit stop. So it could be a little bit costly to him, Fred Lorenzen.
It sure could, but he just jumped back by Petty, and that should put him in the lead.
It does put him in the lead. They were on the same lap, as you'll recall. Before that incident, Petty was 1 lap behind. But now, Pearson has moved back into the lead just a few feet ahead of Richard Petty. So it looks like we're going to have quite a wind-up to the race because the next car, Darrell Derringer, is one full lap behind the two leaders. So Pearson and Petty are coming down right in front of us now, and that's Buddy Baker. Buddy is 3 laps back, although he likes to get up there and duel with the leader. Pearson driving a new Ford Torino that sports a 396 cubic inch engine and is about 200 pounds lighter than any of the other cars. Here's Darrell Derringer, who's currently running in third place. As I mentioned, he is one full lap behind. And it looks like it's all for Cale Yarborough. Look at that car. And apparently the engine blew because the caution light is out and the safety car is on the track. So the blown engine of Cale Yarborough put him out for the afternoon, but it was a valiant effort by this young man from Emmonsville, South Carolina. Here comes Richard Petty in during the caution flag. Fred, is that any real problem? They've got those 10-gallon tanks just sloshing gasoline all over the place.
No, they just want to make sure it's really full because this could possibly be the last stop.
Right, and Richard Petty goes out, and it looks like Pearson has got the hood up and they're putting oil in it. I don't know whether that's significant or not, Fred, but they put oil in the car.
It's just a precaution. They'll keep it over full, and all it'll do is blow it out if it's too full.
I'll tell you one thing, it's costing some extra seconds in there because Petty is back out there ahead of him. And here's a look at some of the tire wear of this afternoon, Fred. Boy. Whew. Good thing for those interliners, right?
Without question, Bill, the biggest single safety factor in racing.
Now, the two leaders, Richard Petty and David Pearson, and that's Buddy Baker up there right with him. But as mentioned, he is 3 laps behind, or he's now only 2 laps behind. He has unlapped himself for 1 lap. Look how close Richard Petty comes to that wall. Well, he's one of the most skillful drivers in the country today, and he won this race a year ago. Before the race got underway today, we had an opportunity to talk to Richard. He started back in the 6th row in the number 11 position, and this is what he had to say prior to the race. Richard, you're back here in the 6th row at the start of this race today, and at Darlington, maybe that's not such a good spot to be because it's kind of tough to pass.
Well, it's pretty tough to pass here, but if we can get the car running pretty good and the handle's good enough, then it's not too bad. But really starting back this far, even when you got a real fast car, it takes a pretty good while to pass anybody here because we just got one groove and it makes it pretty close.
You only have one groove, but today at least you have 2 carburetors.
Yeah, we got 2 carburetors, but I don't believe they're helping a whole lot right now, and I think they're helping everybody but us, but maybe we'll get them worked out and they'll be all right. Best of luck to you, Ricky. Thank you.
Well, the carburetors may not have been right before the race, but they certainly seem to be right now. Petty in the lead, but here comes Pearson right behind him. David pulls alongside. And it looks like Pearson, he does get him. David Pearson going into the lead. So with 50 laps to go, it promises to be quite a finish. We'll be back with it in just a moment. In over the Darlington Raceway, and the yellow caution flag is out. It's just a light sprinkle of rain right now, but the cars are now coming into the pits. And Fred, I don't know how much of a problem that light sprinkle would be.
Quite a bit, Bill. These tires are such a hard compound that on a passenger car, you could never drive in the street with them. Just like a passenger car tire is probably right around this track right now. So when it even starts to sprinkle a little bit, the race is absolutely brought under caution.
So at this point, under the caution, you saw Richard Petty come on in. David Pearson is in the lead right now, and Darrell Derringer is currently running in 3rd place. So here's Petty in again. He's pointing to the right front, so apparently he's having some handling problems with the car. They're gonna put another right foot on there, Fred. They just changed moments ago.
Yes, he's got a problem somewhere in the tires, he guesses. It must be something or shaking or doing something wrong.
And we also noticed that he has lost his rear window completely. That's one of the mishaps of the afternoon. So Richard Petty has had to make a costly second pit stop here, and that moves Darrell Derringer into 2nd place behind David Pearson. And apparently the rain shower is over because the green flag is now out. And they'll be back racing again, and this seems to be the tire in question. It just wasn't performing properly, and it cost Richard Petty another pit stop. There's a pit sign for Pearson taking it easy. So apparently, Fred, they don't want to take any chances at this point.
They sure don't, Phil. With just 2 laps to go, they've slowed him down because he's way out front.
Oh, Derringer brushed the retaining wall. Darrell Derringer, running in second place, just did touch the retaining wall. Wow, a close call, but he has it under control. And look how close Petty comes to.
Yes, the groove has moved way up high. It does during the day, Bill. It starts down low, and as the day goes on, it just moves up high because the track keeps getting slack. By the end of the day, it's right up against the fence.
Well, that's where it is right now. And there's somebody else up against the fence. And it's Dr. Don Carr, a surgeon from Miami, who races for the fun of it. And now the white flag has been given to David Pearson. When he comes around this time, it'll be the checkered flag for him. So here he comes with less than half a lap to go, coming down the home straightaway. And the checkered flag for David Pearson. First big win for him on the super speedways in 7 years, and the 5th win this year. And a mighty welcome victory it is, too, because it brings him $13,900 for the first place finish. And it proves one thing with that small engine here this afternoon, and that lighter weight, it really paid off. Now all the other cars being given the checkered flag, and here comes David.
Well, here he is, David Pearson. What a great job, Dave. Can you hear me? About again. Give up that lead right on the first lap today. It turned out to be prophetic. Yeah, well, we were running pretty close together the first lap, and I said I could go ahead and get it. So I thought I'd go ahead and get in front then. David, did you have any qualms at the end of the race? We thought you were smoking a little bit. No, they just told me to slow up because I was a couple laps ahead, so I just went ahead. Well, you can hear that crowd in the background. It's really roaring for you. Thank you. That's the 5th win this year for David Pearson. What a race, huh, Fred? Oh, it sure was, Bill. I think the big thing here today was the lighter weight cars. The Chrysler ran the 404 engine, Ford. The only 396 was David, and I think the lightweight cars showed. The heavier cars all had tire problems, so I think coming back for the 500, everybody will be running the light cars.
Yeah, for this particular track.
I think so, due to the short straightaways and the big turns.
Well, it was an exciting afternoon, Fred, and thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay. Well, that's just about the story here from the Darlington Raceway, but let's take a look now at the official order of fitting. In first place, David Pearson in the 68 Ford Torino at an average speed of 132.699 miles per hour, a new track record. Darrell Derringer in the 68 Plymouth was second. Richard Petty in the 68 Plymouth was third. Buddy Baker in the 68 Dodge Charger was fourth. Leroy Yarborough, the pole sitter, in the 68 Ford was fifth. James Hilton in the 67 Dodge was sixth. And the current NASCAR point leader, Bobby Isaac, was in 7th place. Well, Richard Petty and David Pearson went on to battle over the title King of the Super Speedways for many, many seasons to come. And television coverage of stock car racing continued to expand until today. Every single Winston Cup race is on the tube. Most of them are covered.